It is officially draft week here on our Las Vegas Athletics franchise here on MLB The Show 23, and today we will be previewing that draft, as well as I just recently decided that we will be doing the draft here in this episode as well. I just think we're at the point of the franchise where we're doing pretty well, and we have a really well-established farm system, so we've kind of just reached a point where maybe the draft isn't as important as it was early on. It's still very important, and we have some exciting players to talk about, but I just think this draft in particular, there's not a ton of prospects to even preview, so I don't know if it should really get its own episode. In terms of where we pick in the draft this year, we have picks 16, 50, and 74, and those are really the draft picks that I'm focused on because 92 you could say, but just I don't feel like there is a lot of use for the guys that we're going to be picking deep in the draft. We've got, like I said, guys really all positions that we really like. If you go ahead and just kind of look here at this, team strengths, position player wise, catcher, it's saying we're only middle of the pack. And then center fielder, we are bad, which we'll get to in a minute. But look at all these other positions. We have top 10 positions all across the board. We're slightly above average at pitching. And so we're really in a good spot in this franchise. But there is one player that our scouts have identified as the best player, and I thoroughly agree with them. And that is Boris Hines. He's number 1 on our board at pick 16. He is far and away my guy that I want to get. I don't think he's going to get there for us though, because he's ranked 17th and there are some closers ahead of him, so I think he's going to get pushed up into that kind of pick 10 to 14 range is where I would expect him to go off the board. But if he does make it to us, we're picking him, and there's not really any debate on that. There's nobody else that we're going to preview today that's really even, I think, touches him. He is the number 1 need on our draft big board, which is available in the link of the description of all these athletics videos. I just put up the 2026 big board. You'll see that it's not very big this year, more like a small board, but he provides us with some contact. He's a switch hitter. We don't have a ton of those, not nearly as much as we do in our other franchise. Provides the fielding that we really don't have in our outfield. We've drafted a lot of really good prospects in this series. We have not drafted a lot of really good fielders. It's kind of the opposite of our draft-only franchise, where a lot of the first-round picks we have drafted have had good fielding. It just hasn't been the case here. With the guy we drafted last year, Daryl Kohler is a really good fielder, but other than that, we picked a lot of guys who are good offensive players, and our offense is very good because of it. We just need some help with a two-way player, and Boris Hines is really the only player that supplies that for us. I tried to scout some other some other players here, but they just either weren't good or they weren't good fielders, so I didn't even scout them because I wasn't going to draft somebody that's not a good fielder, kind of like Jason Singleton here. Provides a lot of power. We just don't really need that. This would be a player that I'd love to scout in my other franchise, but let's go through the other guys. If Boris Hines doesn't make it there, like I said, I don't think he will. Who are we looking for next? My second favorite player in this class is Edmundo Benitez here. Throws absolute gas. Pitch velocity, that's the max range you can get. Stamina is going to be a pretty good spot as well. Strikeouts per 9 are looking pretty good. If we go ahead and take a look at his pitch mix here, this is what I have as his only weakness. Is his pitch mix is kind of weak here. We have 4-seam, 2-seam, sinker, and changeup. Those are, 4 of his 5 pitches have like no horizontal break on them, hardly at all. I think the 2-seamer has a little bit, but then he has the slider, which is nice. I just feel like he has almost the equivalent of 3 fastballs, a changeup off of it, and then a slider. So he almost, even though he has a full 5-pitch mix, it's almost closer to a 3-pitch mix than a true, what it kind of feels like, a 5-pitch mix on him. So pitch mix, don't love it, but I love the ratings. I think he Doesn't really have any super big weaknesses. Home runs per 9 aren't going to be great. It's per 9 either, but I don't think they'll be terrible. And you never know their pitching clutch until you draft them. But next up on my list is Greg Velasquez. Now he's ranked 14th on MLB. Don't know if he'll be there at 16, but if he is, I think he'd be a pretty good high floor option. I think his ceiling's not quite as good as the other guys, but he's going to have really good stamina. Walks per 9 are going to be good, which is just a good formula for simulated success. I like his 4-pitch mix here. Fastball, curveball, slurve, and changeup. I think I'd have a lot of fun pitching with him. Control's not his best, though, and his upside is a little bit worse than the guys we've talked about so far. And then the guys our scouts have ranked as number 2, I would actually have him a little bit down here. I just think he lacks any true high-end skill for me. His break's going to be in a spot that I like. Home runs per 9 is going to be a spot that I like. That's like really the per 9 that I cared about the least, though, for being honest. But he also has really high upside, but his overall range isn't great. His stamina is not great. Or well, it'll be in the 70s, which is fine. It's just not going to be incredible. And then velocity being in the low 60s. Could use some work as well. I'm just kind of going off my big board here. Then the last guy I have is Jack Schmidt. He's the highest ranked on the MLB board here, so I don't know if he'll make it, but here's a guy where I like his hits per 9. I like his break a lot. Velocity's going to be okay, not great. But stamina is a weakness for him, as is control. And then pitch mix, not the biggest fan here. I do like a splitter, though. That's not one you see with too many of these pitchers. And that's probably the end of the list of guys that I would consider with the 16th pick. Like I said, I'm talking a lot more highly of guys like Boris Hines than I am of any of these pitchers. It's really Boris Hines or a pitcher in this class, really. There's one other player that I think is a good position player, and that's Howard Whalen. And now you might be thinking, why am I scouting catchers when we have Soderstrom, we have Langeliers, I have Alex Onquist all already at the position? There's one common denominator among those three, particularly among the two that are probably more long-term players in Soderstrom and Onquist, is that they're not good fielders, and Howard Whalen is. His fielding is going to be between 75 and 80, reaction between 72 and 77. That makes me feel like his blocking is really good too. It doesn't show it here. I'm not going to have the strongest arm there, but he will be a good upgrade at as a fielder at the catching position. His potential is in a really good spot too. Overall is guaranteed to be in the 60s. On my big board, or the small board as I'm calling it, I have him as a second-round prospect. I honestly might take him over any of these pitchers. Maybe not Edmundo Benitez, but if both Hines and Benitez are off the board, Whalen might be worth any of those other pitchers that I kind of like but don't love. I don't know. So, not looking like my favorite draft class. This is our first draft where we're not picking at the top of it. And that combined with the fact that I just haven't loved a ton of the players that I've scouted, just has made this draft very interesting for me. Let's go ahead and talk about some more second round, more caliber players, starting here with Walker Kohler. Scouts have him as top 10 ranked player here. He'd have to be at the very top of his ranking. It's on both potential and overall for that to really be the case. Just not seeing a lot that I like. Last season, a really bad spot, but he's going to have a lot of stamina and he's going to have a high upside. Depends on where he lines up in kind of his ranges here. Another older prospect, kind of like Howard Whalen, that I like. All the guys that I like in this draft. Oh man, my mic has been way far from me. I'm sorry if audio quality hasn't been the best. I'll bring it up closer to me now. Kind of forgot that my mic was so far away. But so I apologize for that. But Alec Madrid here, he is a 21-year-old pitcher. I was saying that kind of all the guys that I like in this draft are older prospects, but we're kind of at the point of the franchise where that's fine. They're more ready to contribute soon. That's not necessarily here with Madrid, whose overall range is 55 to 65. So not going to be a super early contributor, but guaranteed to have good potential. Stamina looks good. Strikeouts per 9 looks good. Only a 3-pitch mix though, and 2 of them are fastballs. So, and then just a changeup off of it. So that's kind of why I have him below some of these other pitchers, even though I think in other areas he looks just as good, if not better than what we've seen, but his pitch mix is really bad. Then there's also Herb Woodson here. Another guy who looks like he has, you know, good upside, just the overall range is pretty terrible. So more of a long-term project, probably just somebody that we would draft to trade. David Bruno here. Break looks great. Upside is a little bit limited here though, but I kind of like what I see, that he has some actual defined strengths here, like home runs per 9 are going to be really good, control and break. Strikeouts per 9 is going to be in a good spot, so wouldn't mind taking him in the second round at all. And then the last guy we have here is David Romero, who I'm trying to finish his scouting report this week. But velocity and break and stamina, that trio looks really good. Those are the things that you don't really increase much. Just his upside, maybe not the best. His potential max is 90, and he just doesn't have a ton of per 9s that you are really fond of, but his pitch mix looks really, really nice. Fastball, splitter, curve, slider, changeup. Like, if I was doing a career mode as a pitcher, I would probably put this as my 5-pitch mix, honestly. So he's got a pitch mix that I think I'm going to really enjoy pitching with. So I like David Romero a lot. Those are the only real 11 players that I kind of identified as guys that I particularly want to draft. There are discovered guys later in the draft that when we get there, I'll show you them then, but I really just wanted to focus on guys that I felt like would be worthy of these first few selections in the draft. And so let's go ahead now and get to that draft. All right, here we are at the start of the draft. I've put all 11 players that we previewed here on the draft board. Hopefully we can come out with at least 3, maybe even 4 of these guys if one of them lasts to 90. Let's hop into the draft. Not picking until the 16th pick. And one thing I want to talk about, just because we have Hines so far up on our board, one thing that we did in the last offseason is we ended up trading for Darren Gilbert, who I thought was the best pitcher from that draft class. As we see Dominic Ridgway go, he looked like a pretty solid shortstop, just wasn't something that we needed. We traded for him in the offseason. I thought he was the best pitcher in that last draft, and we're kind of in the stage where we have a really flushed out farm system. We have, I think, the most top 100 prospects of any team in baseball, and so maybe consolidating, doing a 2-for-1 prospect swap or a 3-for-1 prospect swap. We could consider doing 4 Boris Hines should he not be available for us, and just like I said, I don't think he will be. Johnny Hyde, somebody that we scouted, pretty low upside pick though for the Rockies, which is why he was off our board, but he's the first guy that we scouted that goes in this draft. Let's see just how close and hopeful I can get that Boris Hines ends up on the team before he gets sniped from us here. Jose Mendoza going to be another low upside guy here for the Reds. Karan, center fielder that we weren't particularly impressed with just because of his lack of upside, but he does provide a little bit in the way of some fielding. Jack Schmidt's the first guy on our board to go here. Didn't think he was going to make it. He was 12th on the MLB board. He goes 6th, right where we actually had him. Singleton was a center fielder we did not scout just because of his lack of fielding, but potentially a really good power bat for San Francisco there. Greg Velasquez, another guy on our board up next. Just more of like a high floor, low ceiling guy. I think he's going to be a good pick for the Pirates that could play a role early on. And Edmundo Benitez goes. He was my second favorite player. Just throws for absolute gas, has some good stamina to go along with it. Oren Palmer up next. We did not scout him, but maybe you never know. It could have been a really good pick. And Boris Hines goes to the division rival Angels. My favorite player in the class is off the board into the division. Think he's listed at right field, but I think he can easily play center field. And I didn't think he was going to be there. I was hoping one of these two would, though, and puts us in a really bad spot, I think, here with our pick. So we still have Richard Brignoni, who is number 2 on our draft board. I just don't quite see it. He'd have to be at the very high end of his ranges. And typically when the scouts are this high, they do end up on the high end of his ranges. So if he hits that, yeah, then color me impressed. This is a good pitcher. Or we go with Howard Whalen. Both guys are guys that could theoretically be there at our second round pick. I think just because we have only pitchers left, let's go ahead and take Howard Whalen. He just has a skill set that we don't have. A catcher that can field is our number 2 need, and we don't have anybody that fits our number 1 need of a center fielder. So I hope Brignoni, because he's definitely better than any of the other pitchers left. We're going to take Howard Whalen here, though, with our first round pick. At 22 years old, he is a little bit on the older side here. But guaranteed 86 to 91 potential, and gives us a skill set that I think we need. And we don't have a ton of holes at this point. Right? You saw the graphic there where we're top 10 in everything except for catcher and center field of the position players. So this gives us an opportunity to maybe take a long-term catcher. What does that mean for Tyler Soderstrom and Alex Angeles? I think we can figure that out long-term. And right now, we just take this player who I think have the case of being best available, and you kind of just deal with those things later. Until recently, Tyler Soderstrom was maybe looking like he wasn't going to be long-term piece. He has turned it around and been really good for us since this year, though. So I do think he's a long-term piece, but he could maybe be a corner outfielder, and Whalen could be the catcher. You know, I think there's some alterations that we could just make to positions to fit all of these guys on the field at once. I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem here for Whalen to get on the field for us. Mark Mitchell goes next to shortstop here. Looks like he has potential to be a really good pick. Didn't scout him, just wasn't really looking at shortstops this year. Barron, we scouted him. Looked like he was going to be a really good fielder, and he still is going to be a solid fielder for sure, but the more we scouted him, the less impressive he looked, which was the case for every outfielder that we scouted except for Hines. Just unfortunate. So we're at this point just hoping. Oh, Brignoni went. No, we went to the Orioles. So draft is not falling our way at all thus far, and it's kind of surprising. I felt like the draft has cooperated with us for the most part in this game, but that hasn't always been the case, and it's certainly has not been the case here. I feel like the reason I feel like the draft has been cooperating with us for the most part is just because we've been picking at the top of the draft for the most part. So a lot less picks happening to kind of disappoint you, I guess, in terms of who you want to get out of here. So we really only got 4 players left, and we don't pick again still for 20 more selections. We might only get 1 player on our big board in this entire draft. That would be quite concerning. And now that this first round is done, I'm going to simulate to our pick to see who's left. All 4 make it. All right, so the guys, there's clearly a tier break from what the MLB saw to what we saw after those 7 guys went off our board pretty early. 4 remain. So who do we go with here? I think David Ramiro, just because he's good in the spots that don't get better, plus he has a good 5-pitch mix. That extra bit of scouting brought his ranges down just a tad bit, but I still think he's my favorite option here. So we will take him and simulate ahead to 74. 1 more player went off. It looks like Herb Woodson was taken here. That's fine. I think I like Walker Cole better. even though, oh man, that velocity is going to be a major problem for him. But Bruno has a terrible pitch mix. There's a chance we can get both. Let's see. You're ranked 87th. You're not ranked. So we'll take Cole here, hoping that the not ranked guy is still available, and he is not. So now we're talking about guys who we didn't even have on our board because I didn't like them enough, basically, or I didn't scout them. Typically, the guys that I didn't scout, I would just put on our board for the later rounds. I just didn't feel really the need to do that here. Here's a good overall, it's a potential gap here that I like at decent bits. Fastball, slider, changeup. I will take DeLowry here with pick number 90. Here, there's only a 10-point gap between overall and potential here, but he does have the potential to be like a good early impact guy at closer, which I feel like is a good get here in the 4th round. Now into the 5th, guaranteed B potential for Aparicio, excuse me. So we'll take that. Definitely could be a good trade piece. Just flying through these later rounds here. I like this overall to potential gap here from Rufus Hamilton as well in the 6th round. So there you have it. We've picked Howard Whalen, here in the 1st round, and then after that took a ton of pitching. How good will those pitchers be? We'll just have to find that one out at a later date. But I don't think it's going to be our strongest draft, but I think we'll have gotten a couple of solid players. I am excited about Howard Whalen. I think he definitely adds a skill set that we were missing and that I've been searching for, but unable to find. Now it's time to start signing these draft picks, starting with our 1st round pick. Already 74% interest, but he still says no. Okay, that's something here. Ramiro here. We'll decline. We're getting guys over 50%, but declining. Let's see if we can get deal done with Hamilton. He says yes. I definitely got to start working on some interest here with Ybarra. We're going to have him at first. And then we're going to get these other guys who are under 50% over interest in here as well. And that's how we'll be doing the 1st round of signings here. Howard Whalen has signed with the team. Like to see that. Ramiro. Thought we got some of these guys. I think something went on auto and they put these guys back on, but there we go. I think I might have accidentally pressed auto or something, but there we go. That's it for another signing session. We just got these 3 guys. Ybarra might end up being pretty tough, but if we can get these guys signed early so he's getting a lot more interest per turn, we might be able to sign our whole class pretty easily. But we did get the 3 guys that I wanted to sign the most. The only guys we've yet to sign are kind of the guys that are more iffy, I should say. Able to sign Ryan DeLowry here. Looking like he'll be at least a solid reliever, if nothing spectacular. Then also going for Aparicio. He says no. Well, screw that guy. I don't know why you're saying no. We'll get that signing done. I have to get him up to like 80%. Ybarra will be... It'll be, you know, close whether or not we can sign him, but we'll certainly try here. Last day, if Ybarra says no to this, then we don't get him, but he has 72% interest, so he will say yes. So we got our entire draft class finished. Most of them we got pretty easily here, but the last guy just took us a little bit longer. Let's go ahead and take a look now at this year's draft class, and it's looking pretty good. I'm not gonna say that I'm super stoked about what I'm seeing, but it does look pretty good here. Howard Whalen here, 64 overall, 89 potential, and just like I said, has Fielding that could be ready if we needed him literally next year. Also a good contact hitter. So I honestly like this pick quite a bit. Yes, he's 22 years old, but like I said when we drafted him, this is a skill set that we just haven't had on the team, and it's one that I've been looking for. I'm glad we found it here with Howard Whalen. And we'll let who plays catcher and what happens. We'll let that boat sail when we get closer to it. But David Ramiro ends up being on, I think, the low ends of these ranges that he had. Yes. Yeah, he is a little bit on the low end here, but 61 with B potential. It's not bad. And again, what put him over the edge for me was his pitch mix. I think he's got a really fun mix of pitches that will be fun to play with should we play with him. Walker Cole, high level potential, but he's definitely a long way away. DeLowry, not great here, but Ybarra I think is somebody that could play an impact even in this series, depending on how long it goes. As somebody in our bullpen. Oven Aparicio, 59 overall, 86 potential, solid, and then another decent reliever here with mid C potential. And so, good draft for us. Definitely not our best. I still say, if this was like a draft that you were getting earlier on in the series, you'd be more happy with it. It's just because there's not a lot of early impact guys. You're probably talking about Ybarra is probably the second or maybe even the first most early impact guy, with Howard Whalen probably being able to play at the MLB should he need to early on as well. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of these other drafts, see what we missed out on. Did I just do a bad job scouting, or was the draft just not that good this year? Dominic Ridgway, he looks really good. Pretty well-rounded player, honestly. That's a good pick for Miami. Didn't scout him. He was never gonna make it to us. Continuing on here, Winston Johnson over at first base. Good hitter, big arm, but not much of a fielder apart from that at all. But that's a good pick. Didn't scout first baseman. So it looks like maybe if we had scouted first baseman and shortstops, this draft might have looked a little bit better for us. I just wasn't particularly looking at either of those positions. Pedroza here, very high potential, but he will not do anything during the series. Edmundo Benitez, 63 overall, 89 potential, 99 velocity. Hits per 9 is pretty low. Durability at 69 is nice, but would have been a fun pitcher for sure. He's like pretty much the exact same caliber of prospect as the catcher that we got, Whalen, but he is younger. Greg Velasquez. This is pretty much exactly what I thought. I thought he was going to be low 70s with high B potential. That is what he ends up being. 55 durability is not great for him, though. But the Pirates only signed 3 picks. Warren Palmer, solid here. Really good velocity and stamina. Pitch mix isn't great, though. Jack Schmidt was on. See, these are the guys that I liked in the class. It just wasn't the best class. This is a good relief pick for sure by Arizona. I don't know if we would have picked a reliever that early. Andres Liriano, really intriguing skill set here. He's got nothing in between ratings 50 through 70. Everything's either below 50 or above 70 in this skill set, which is kind of fun. Very big, strengths and weaknesses. I like players like this where very defined strengths, very defined weaknesses. So fun pick here for Colorado. But overall, who did we miss? Jason Singleton, he was also picked before our pick, but he also didn't offer the skill set I wanted. But yeah, still great pick here by San Francisco. That's power and speed. Let's go. If I didn't already have a lot of power and speed on my team, I would love that kind of impact. So this is the guy we really wanted with our second round pick. Didn't make it, of course. 59 overall with A potential. Would have given us our only A potential of the draft, but 59 overall still wouldn't have made it really much of an impact in this series here. Nate Henry is already 70 overall, but not going to get much better. Pedro Lantigua, really good pick here. So didn't offer the skill set I wanted at catcher. I'd still, even though Lantigua, you know, raw numbers are better, I would still take Whalen, honestly. He's also 23 years old, but still, like, awesome pick. I'm not trying to demean it at all. I'm just saying I think I would have personally still picked our catcher bet over him because of what we already have on the team. Trailer, super far away. Bo Lopez, solid pick here. Some speed and some power against lefties. A potential here for Kelvin Cox is sick. Boris Hines, dude. Oh, he's exactly what I wanted. We were correct in identifying him as the best player in the class. I mean, it wasn't hard. Our scouts ranked him at 1, but goes to the Angels. I might have to trade for him in the offseason, give the Angels like 3 really good prospects for 1, do some kind of swap like that. But overall, I think seeing the rest of the class, I'm not mad at our draft class. I think there just wasn't a lot of great talent available for us to pick in this class, and you can only draft from the class that you were given, right? And so overall, pretty happy with the way things turned out now that I've seen the whole class. More happy than I was when I initially reacted to the class. I just really wish that Boris Hines was a Las Vegas Athletic. Perfect pick. And I need to go trade for him. Just maybe. All right. That's all I've got for the draft portion. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some player locks that I want to do that I did throughout the month while I was signing these picks with our minor league players. One pitcher that we recently drafted that we have not yet seen is Meryl Mitchy. And so he's pitching today for our AA squad. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a Meryl Mitchy game in. We've only gone down to our AA team once this year. I've been focusing a lot more on the major league team as they are now actually really good. But since this is the draft episode, it feels, you know, appropriate to also take a look at our prospects that we've drafted in recent years. Let's go ahead and take a look at how he is doing for us this year. He right now is pitching with a 3.28 ERA through 17 starts, 6 of them being quality starts, and pitched 85 innings. 1.28 whip is pretty solid as well. Win percentage isn't working out too well for him, so it looks like his runners aren't giving him much support. But, you know, 3.28 with a 1.28 whip, I'd certainly say that I am happy with that. Let's see what it's like to pitch with them, though, in game. Have not been able to find the strike zone here. The first one was a borderline pitch, but others have not quite been where they needed to be, and he will allow a base runner on a 4-pitch walk to start out. All right. That one is tapped over to Mitchy. Can't field it cleanly. Picks it up. And the throw is just late there. So a walk and a single now. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. Ooh, we should be challenging that. That throw is definitely ahead. But we can't because we're player locking. I would have challenged it if that was the manager. That one is hit straight to short. Rebiel Angeles able to glove it, so the first out of the game. 1-2 pitch is a swing and a miss on the change up, just low. Nice pitch there from Mitchy. Oh, how are you not giving me that, dude? That was a beautiful slider. This one is hit straight over to third. Daryl Kohler gloves it. Nice to see the nice defensive highlight. Another guy that we will be watching in a player lock in this episode. Fastball high and inside. Can we get him out here? Nope, just too high. So the second straight inning that we will lead off with a walk. That's a beautiful pitch, high and outside. Swung on by Hernandez, but lifted straight to right. So we will hold the runner at first. That one is hit right to second. We've got a 4-6-3 double play to get out of the second inning. So Mitchy with 2 scoreless. Midland scored a couple of runs at the bottom of the first. So we've got ourselves a little bit of a lead here early. But with a double play, of course, you always got to see it a couple of times. Nice to see defensive highlights in baseball. 1-2 pitch for Cornell. That one's tapped. Was left inside. And the throw by Angeles is on target. Out to start bottom of the third. So we won't get 3 straight walks. So if all of his pitches are high, if I aim it like right here, that might be just above the zone. Enough to make Cash swing. Or it'll be right where I put it. Flash of the glove by Daryl Kohler. And Cash is out. Kohler showing some nice instincts in this game. Try to hit him with that inside fastball. Jam him up here. 0-2 will do just that. He gets the contact on it, but Mickey Saito out there playing center field will make the grab. Oh, that one was left right over the middle, and that will be a base hit for John Torres. He will stay at first. The first miss that we'll have to pay on, at least. He's missed just a couple. He's done a pretty good job not missing over the middle, but does so on that occasion. Confidence in the fastball is increasing as I can see the control going up as well here. Did he go around? Yes, he did. Strikeout there on LJ Jones. First here, bottom of the fourth. Get him on a slider that ends up inside. That one was just a little bit too close to the zone there. We'll be going for 3, but shouldn't be going home. Yep, he'll hold up at 3. So runners in the corners. This is Springfield's best chance to bring across a run thus far in this game, or at least since the first inning. 2-2. Got him. Swinging on the slider down and inside. Second out here, bottom of the fourth. Mitchy getting a little bit more comfortable as we're going through this game, I think. Getting ahead 0-2. He'll get the 3-pitch strikeout. Fastball up was located well. And he gets the swing and a miss. He's bumped up. Able to get out of that mini jam there. And do so in style there with a couple of strikeouts. Slider here. A few times we've been able to go lefty-lefty in this game. Slider, though, will be hit. Just touches down. So a leadoff single for Rozier. 1-2 in the dirt. That's going to be a base for St. Louis there. Rozier steals second. Wild pitch is the call. And we come back with a strikeout. I didn't think he went around, but first base judge says differently, and I'm not going to be complaining about that. To run this count, full changeup is the call, and changeup brings the strikeout. Throwing a lot of fastballs that at bat, so I was hoping to get him there with, I think we would thrown all fastballs, right? Yeah, we were just threw a 2-seamer in there, but all those fastballs led to a successful changeup. That one is lifted by Tunic here. Looking for the third out of the fifth, and we will get it out in foul territory. Some nice effort there made by not Eduardo Silva, even though it looks a lot like him. 0-2 to John Torres. And I don't know what you're waiting there for, John, but you should probably swing at that next time around. 2-2 for Jones. That changeup was higher than I wanted, but we'll get another changeup strikeout here. Saito just out there admiring the outfield as he's had a little job to do here with all these strikeouts going on. That high fastball is lifted by Stubbs. Left fielder able to track it down. I believe that's Packard there too. And a clean 6th for us. No runs allowed. That high fastball is popped out to second. Play easily made there. And we'll see if we can get through a 7th inning here. Didn't know if he would make it, but not surprised since it is a shutout. 2-2 situation here, up over 90 pitches for Mitchy on the day. That's a nice strike out there. Fastball has definitely lost a couple of miles per hour though, so you can tell he is losing some steam. Still in the yellow though, not yet to the red. Nice fastball, gets us ahead 0-2 here. Don't have a ton of confidence in the slider, but we'll go to it. 0-2, and the slider gets him the strikeouts. A clean 7th for Mitchy, and things looking quite good for the Rockhounds, up 5-0 after this one. We would be relieved here after 7, but all in all, really impressed with what I saw from Mitchy. His pitch mix isn't the greatest, results in me using kind of a lot of fastballs, but we were able to get a lot of confidence in the fastball, and it was working. So we would end up scoring 5 there in the 8th for a 10-0 dominant victory here from Midland. Mitchy, of course, going to be a big part of it with 7 scoreless innings pitched. That's definitely going to help out his ERA, which is already in a pretty good spot, and he will win player of the game as well. Really bad news for the squad here. Luis Urias, torn calf, out for the next 2 to 3 months. What are we going to do about it? Let's go ahead and take a look at our roster. Oh boy, we could have Robert Poisson play that for us. He hasn't been great for us here in his first season at the MLB level. Could have Zach Geloff do it. I think giving Zach Geloff a try here, as he's actually been pretty good. Yeah, we'll just have Zach Geloff be in the lineup. He's hitting over an 808 OPS here. Why not give him a shot? We'll just move all these guys up and put Geloff here in all these lineups. I think that's a pretty simple solution. I kind of forgot Geloff was somebody that we had available for us here. Oh, this is left. This is not the one I'm trying to figure out here. Okay, cool. Yeah, so lineup's fixed. And Geloff's going to get his first taste of really consistent run with the bigs. We'll see if he can keep up the production he's been going with so far. Really good, not really good, but pretty good start here to the month of July. But I'm not done here with the player locks. I want to go ahead and take a look at a couple of our position players that have been drafted highly in this season, starting with Daryl Kohler. So let's go ahead and hop into that. Daryl Kohler up here for his first at bat here. Let's just see how he's doing. Hitting .314 so far for us this year with an 888 OPS. He's hit himself 9 home runs. One of those has come in July. I remember seeing 8 to start this episode. So he's been doing quite well. 0 WAR. I don't know if that's accurate. I don't think it is. Is everyone at 0 WAR? Yeah, I think it's just during the game it doesn't show accurately. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure he had a positive WAR, but looks like we just can't see that in game. Let's go ahead and get into this first AB, though. Swinging at that first pitch was not my best swing. Probably should have allowed myself to warm up a little bit at the plate, as that one was above the zone, and we will be out. That one is a four-seamer, hit well, but... Or, sorry, well, yeah, hit with good timing, but it just doesn't work out for us. But did a much better job at that at-bat, being a little bit more patient and then getting good timing on the ball, at least. 2-2, we've got 69 Jackson Kowar hits. Pitches, excuse me. Nice. No, a little bit of a tapper there. We're definitely not fast enough to outrun that, so we're going to end the fifth. Some blown opportunities here for the RBI. First opportunity to play defense here. Opportunity for a double play. And we're going to go for it. Probably could have just tagged as well, but we'll go for the double play. Nicely done by Kohler there. Play so nice. You gotta see it twice on the double play. Well executed, and this game remains tied. Another defensive opportunity here, top of the seventh. Play will be at first. And it should be a relatively easy one here for Kohler. It took me a while to get over there, but we'll get it in time. Bases juiced for our boy Daryl Kohler, 1 out. You know I'm power swinging this bad boy. I almost always just go normal swing. I've been used to faster pitches, dude. I definitely timed up a good 97-mile-an-hour fastball right there. Oh, I thought I went yard. This one's hit well to the outfield. Back and gone. It's a grand slam. Daryl Kohler comes through in the clutch. He really gave us 2 pitches that we could have rocked. Missed the first, but we came back and got it in the second. The 10th home run of the season for Kohler here. Brings across 4 Rockhounds runs and really breaks this game open. It had been a low-scoring affair all game long, but really barreled that pitch up nicely. 411 feet, just able to get it past the wall. And you gotta love it. Plays that first here with 2 down. Hit well to third base. We couldn't get it though. Is that gonna bring home 2 runs? It'll just be the 1, I suppose. We'll throw it over to first, I guess. I guess I pressed B initially. I guess it saved that. Rockhounds would come up and get the victory in the end. Some nice plays. I think we got ourselves a double play, got ourselves a grand slam. What more can you ask for of a player lock game here on Daryl Kohler? I want to do one more here with Eduardo Silva. And then that will likely be the end of the gameplay portion of this episode. Ended up, we've won 2 for 2 for winning player of the game. I'll take that for sure. Only got half of the hits as the Sod Poodles here, but 1 more run, so bad luck for them. They did a bad job stranding people on base this game. And then, like I just mentioned, we will be doing a player lock game here with Eduardo Silva. He got called up to AAA. I think, no, he's been at AAA the whole year, but Richard Cano got called up to AAA, which means Silva's only DHing. Early on in his career, I would have been not very happy at that because I felt like I certainly wanted him to get more fielding opportunities. I just think it's been long enough now and his fielding's not going up very fast. I just don't know if center fielders in his future. So I'm not mad at him being DH here. Get a few at-bats here with Silva. The first draft pick of this series. I didn't have a lot of experience with the draft. Not saying he was a bad pick by any means, but 16 home runs on the year. Let's actually go ahead. That's something I forgot to look at. We saw 252 average, 16 home runs, 58 RBIs, 770 OPS. He's been pretty good. And initially when Franmil Reyes was struggling, I was planning on bringing him up. I still think it's a very distinct possibility that he could be brought up. If I had to do September call-ups right now, I think it would be Silva. He's definitely been in the series for a while now, and that one will be inside. So we fall behind 2-0-2 here, but definitely think he's ready to at least be a little bit of a power bat at the MLB level. That one is high in the zone, hit out to right, but does not have the carry, so he will be flied out here to end the first. All right, bases juiced with 2 outs again. Can we get 2 grand slams in one episode? We're power swinging this. Oh my goodness. This is honestly looking awfully like the first one where we had a pitch high and outside that we were early on. That one is hit well to the outfield, back, but this one's caught. Doesn't have the same carry. For a second there, I thought we might have done it. Didn't sound quite as good coming off the bat, though, so it was a little bit more far-fetched. But Benny Montgomery out there in the outfield will retire us. Man, I thought we had it. 2-2. Oh, my goodness. Well out in front of the changeup. And so not been a great day thus far for Silva. I mean, granted, we only got 1 hit with Kohler, too, but it was a grand slam. Let's see if we can bring across some runs here. Extend our lead here in the 7th. First pitch well inside. Good timing and everything. Just fouled it off. And that 4-seamer is going to get us swinging and missing on the inside. So Silva not with the best day, but the Aviators still come out and pull away with a win. See Capel and Richard Cano there. Player of the game will be Capel, as he got the, I assume, home run there that put us over the top there in the 2nd inning. But not the best performance from Silva, but that's maybe a little bit of indicative that he just hasn't been quite as good as I would have hoped he could be in this series. But that'll be it for the player lock portion of this episode. Already said everything I needed to about the draft. I know technically we ended this episode on August 1st, but this will be the end of the recording. So that's all I've got for this episode. We'll be slowing things down a lot in August and September, playing a lot more close attention to the team. This is 2 episodes in a row and pretty much 2 months in a row without we haven't actually seen a full game of this MLB team. We'll be seeing a lot more as the season comes down to the nitty-gritty and playoffs really start to take shape. But that's all I got for this episode. We'll come out with another one soon, and I will see you then.